Chapter 244, Spirit Accumulation Praying Mat. Oh! At little Martin's sudden words, Lin Dong was a little taken aback, and soon after, he concentrated on the old yellow praying mat. If this praying mat truly only possessed some mental energy nourishing ability, it would definitely not be worth 40,000 pure yuan pills. Yet, from the fact that the auctioneer had given such a high starting bid showed that although the appraisal expert from the Martial Alliance were not completely sure about the mysteries of this praying mat, they sensed that this praying mat indeed had its unique points, and hence, gave such a starting price. Therefore, bidding for this praying mat was a little similar to a gamble. If one was lucky and discovered that this praying mat had other abilities, he would have won, but if one did not, then it would be a huge loss. Thus, after hearing little Martin's words, Lin Dong hesitated for a moment in his heart. However, in the end, the trust he had in the former gained the upper hand. Although this guy was not too reliable at times, at the crucial moment, it was trustworthy to a certain degree. This so-called spirit accumulation praying mat clearly drew some whispers in the auction area. Lin Dong could feel countless mental energy probes spreading out, sweeping over the praying mat, trying to discover if there were any mysteries in this item. To think that it started at such a price, however, one did not know if this was due to some special point of the praying mat. Hence, some people tried their means to probe it, yet, these mental energy probes were unable to achieve much effect like Lin Dong. 41,000 pure yuan pills. The whispers in the area did not last for long, before someone did a probing bid, evidently trying his luck. Although 40,000 pure yuan pills was not a small sum, the people who could take out such a sum here was not few. 43,000. 45,000. With someone to start the bid, others immediately followed. However, they did not raise the price especially high. Evidently, they were a little apprehensive of the unclear effects of this praying mat. While the price was going up in such a way, the bidding for the praying mat gradually reached 50,000 pure yuan pills, and following this, the bidders became much more cautious. 60,000 pure yuan pills. When the bidding became sparse, a soft and indifferent voice suddenly rang out, immediately causing some of the interested contestants to be suppressed. As they looked towards the source of the voice, they found that this bidder was actually the ghastly puppet cult's Huazong, who was seated at the very front. Upon seeing this rich master make his move, many people helplessly shook their heads, clearly unable to compete. Hence, after Huazong shouted out his bid, the auction was silent for a while, but just as everyone thought that Huazong's bid was going to be successful, a voice suddenly interjected. 70,000 pure yuan pills. Hua! This voice instantly caused an uproar in the auction. One by one, astonished gazes turned towards the voice, and when they saw the figure covered by a bamboo hat, they immediately broke out in whispers. This increase in price clearly caused Huazong to be taken aback. Soon after, his eyebrows furrowed a little, as he tilted his head, his soft gaze looking towards the figure behind. After becoming the focus of everyone's attention, Lin Dong's expression remained calm. Soon after, his mind moved a little, as a gloomy mental energy quietly spread out, seemingly intent on peeking on the face below the bamboo hat. Humph! Snorting in his heart, the destiny soul symbols in his Nuan palace slightly trembled, as a mental energy wave swept out, reflecting the probing mental energy. The eyes under the bamboo hat turned to stare at Huazong, evidently, that probe should be from the latter. Oh! After his mental energy probing was reflected back by Lin Dong, Huazong was clearly a little surprised, as he let out a soft "oh." Soon after, an excited smile formed on his lips. Like a venomous snake, he cast a glance at Lin Dong before withdrawing his gaze. As a lazy voice sounded out, 80,000. This huge increase caused many people's faces to change a little. Soon after, they felt secretly envious. This was a truly wealthy person. 80,000 pure yuan pills was thrown out without blinking, and most importantly, he had used such a huge sum to bid on a praying mat which capabilities were still not completely clear. 100,000. However, just as the crowd's envy appeared, Lin Dong's following words, which were said in a voice that was akin to an ancient well without any ripples, directly caused quite a number of people to gasp. In fact, even Mu Qian could not help but turn her head, as her peach flower-like eyes glanced at him in astonishment. 100,000 pure yuan pills, without a little boldness, one could not possibly shout out such a sum in such a calm and collected manner. Lin Dong's bid caused even Hua Zong's face to slightly twitch for a moment, as his eyes turned a little dark. However, he did not once again raise the bid this time. At times, it might be fine to let one's emotions affect one's decisions, but one still had to look at the cost. If this praying mat was a high-grade soul treasure, perhaps he would be very interested to continue bidding. Yet, in this case, if his father found out he had spent 100,000 pure yuan pills to buy a praying mat of unclear capabilities, that would really be too extravagant. Lin Dong's bid this time undoubtedly subdued the entire auction, and for a long time after, no one spoke. Upon seeing this, the white-haired elder was also a little excited as he shouted a few times, before slamming down his hammer and sealing the deal. Throughout this entire process, Lin Dong did not move at all. Even the tone of his voice did not change in the slightest. From this appearance, it was as if 100 pure yuan pills did not mean anything to him. This caused quite a few people to guess which great faction he hailed from. Of course, no one knew that under this seemingly calm body, a flushed neck was exerting all its strength to roar out, 100,000 pure yuan pills, god damn it, if this wretched praying mat has no uses, I will definitely make you pay. Lin Dong's roar was naturally aimed at little Martin. Truth be told, when Hua Zong had previously shouted out a bid of 80,000, Lin Dong had already planned to give up. Using this kind of price to bet on one's luck was truly a little too disturbing. Yet, just as he was about to give up, little Martin endlessly butted in to incite him. In the end, this caused him to painfully shout out this flesh-cutting bid. Of course, when he shouted out this bid, Lin Dong's heart was already extremely regretful. He frantically hoped that Zhong Hua would bid once again, but what caused the scene before his eyes to turn black, was that this guy actually turned soft at this moment. Gutless coward! Lin Dong fumed in his heart as he cursed. Once this 100,000 pure yuan pills was tossed out, his funds would have practically shrunk by more than half. Looks like he would have to live frugally again in future. Kid, you really do not have courage or insight. What is a mere 100 pure yuan pills? Even Grandfather Martin cannot understand some of the symbols on this praying mat. It is definitely no ordinary item. While Lin Dong was wallowing in regret, little Martin's voice was full of disdain as it sounded out in his mind. You better pray that you are right. Lin Dong firmly said. On the auction stage, following the successful auction of the spirit accumulation praying mat at a rather good price, quite a few good things were presented on stage. Among them, Lin Dong saw a martial art that had reached upper rank 8 grade. However, bidding that reached 80,000 straight away caused him to give up. In his current state, he could no longer purchase these luxurious goods. Now that his money bag had gradually shriveled up, in the following few auctions, Lin Dong was practically reduced to a spectator, with the exception of the one time towards the end when he once again made a move, using 20,000 pure yuan pills to buy a rare elixir known as Starry Yang fruit. This was one of the vital items to tame the berserk energy within the 1000 beast fruit, thus, Lin Dong would not tolerate taking no action. After this 20,000 pure yuan pills was fished out, it also caused Lin Dong to turn completely poor. His remaining pure yuan pills could no longer be used because he still needed a considerable sum of pure yuan pills to request a soul symbol master to upgrade the ancient heavenly scales halberd. In a short hour, Lin Dong's original funds of over 200,000 pure yuan pills had once again been wiped clean. This caused him to deeply understand how impoverished he was in a place like the Great Desolate Province. Fortunately, although he had spent quite a sum of pure yuan pills, everything Lin Dong needed was practically all successfully purchased. As the auction gradually neared its end, the articles that appeared became more and more valuable, and the higher the bids became, causing Lin Dong to feel rather envious. The highlight of the auction this time was a high-grade soul treasure called Mysterious Earth Armor. It was said to a treasure that had been handed down, and had originated from within the Great Wastelands tablet. Its price started at 120,000 pure yuan pills, and its defensive powers was astonishingly strong. If a mere yuan dan stage practitioner wore it, he would be able to directly disregard a form creation stage practitioner's attacks. In fact, this soul treasure also had a certain resistance against mental energy attacks. Wearing it was undoubtedly akin to having an additional life. This caused Lin Dong mouth to drool, but of course, with this high price, even if he would not be able to afford it even if he were to sell himself. In the end, this mysterious earth armor was auctioned at a price of 180,000 pure yuan pills, and the recipient was none other than the one who had contested against Lin Dong for the spirit accumulation praying mat, Zhong Hua. With the ghastly puppet cult's backing, this guy was indeed genuinely wealthy. As he gazed at the auction which had reached its peak, Lin Dong stretched his body, and directly stood up, heading outside of the auction area. This time, had quite a harvest, and should now go to upgrade the ancient heavenly scales halberd. If the ancient heavenly scales halberd was able to be upgraded to a high-grade soul treasure, Lin Dong's battle power would undoubtedly rise a level. Chapter 245, Grandmaster Cheng. After exiting the auction area, Lin Dong first took a trip to the auction internal department. There, he retrieved all the items he had successfully bid for, including the old yellow praying mat. As he stood in the small and quiet room, Lin Dong stared at the old praying mat in his hand. It felt lukewarm in his hand, and the numerous mysterious symbols on the praying mat looked extremely cryptic and complicated. Based on these symbols alone, the mat really seemed to be a little special, yet, no matter how Lin Dong probed at it with his mental energy, the praying mat before his eyes gave no response at all, causing one to be a little suspicious if these seemingly cryptic symbols were just a false front. If that was true, Lin Dong would have truly lost out this time. Tightly grasping the praying mat in his hands, Lin Dong's expression was a little ugly. Soon after, he fiercely cursed in a low voice, keeping all the purchased items into his Qian bag, before turning around and leaving the article retrieving room. The current him had practically returned to the point when he left Yan City, as the pure yuan pills within his money bag was close to being exhausted. If I knew about this earlier, I would have extorted more money from the Di and Lu families. Lin Dong was somewhat regretful. At that time, he had thought that 200,000 pure yuan pills was already a lot. In the end, after buying a few things here did he realize that 200,000 pure yuan pills was not enough. Stroking little flame, Lin Dong helplessly sighed. Now, he should first go and find a soul symbol master to upgrade the ancient heavenly scales halberd. While Lin Dong sighed, he suddenly smelled a peculiar fragrance float over. This fragrance was not too heavy, and was akin to a young lady's fragrance, pure yet full of enticement. When he smelled this fragrance, Lin Dong lifted his eyes, and gazed at the woman in a black dress, who had come out from the article retrieval room beside. Turns out, it was the great devil sex Mu Qian. As Lin Dong caught sight of Mu Qian, the latter clearly also discovered him. Although the former was currently still wearing a bamboo hat on his head, Mu Qian's beautiful eyes were gentle like flowing water. Soon after, she gracefully took small quick steps over, sweetly smiling as she spoke, "This friend does not seem to be someone from my great desolate province, right? The great desolate province is vast and filled with numerous capable people. How can Miss Mu know all of them?" Lin Dong did not understand why this woman, who had a rather high position in the Great Devil sect, would suddenly take the initiative and talk to him. Yet, he did not forget his manners. Though the beauty before him was so pretty that she would cause one's heartbeat to quicken, he understood that she was a rose with poisonous thorns. If he had any ill intentions, his fate would not be a pleasant one. Lin Dong's suppressed voice sounded a little hoarse, and was greatly different from his original voice. In response to Lin Dong's reply, Mu Qian covered her mouth and chuckled, as her beautiful eyes swept across the former's body. With her outstanding eyesight, she was able to guess that the face below the bamboo hat should not be too old. Moreover, the fact that the latter was able to unblinkingly took out 100,000 pure yuan pills should indicate that he had substantial funds. In addition, she sensed that although the man before her only seemed to have the strength of the form creation stage, she constantly felt him give off a faintly discernible aura of danger. This kind of slightly mysterious character was worth making friends with. Since young master knows this little lady's name, shouldn't I also know yours? Lin Dong. Lin Dong hesitated for a moment, and was not overly resistive. This woman had a high position in the Great Devil sect, there was no disadvantage for him if he was able to make some ties. So you are young Master Lin. Upon hearing this, a mesmerizing smile appeared on Mu Qianqun's pretty face. Just as she was about to speak, her umber-black brows suddenly furrowed a little. He, Miss Qian, so this is where you were. A voice that was somewhat familiar to Lin Dong sounded out from behind. Below the bamboo hat, Lin Dong's eyebrows slightly raised, as he looked behind, only to see the ghastly puppet cult's Huazong grinning as he walked over. When Huazong walked to Mu Qianqun's side, his slightly feminine gaze turned towards Lin Dong, as his eyes narrowed a little. Though a smile still hung on his face, from what Lin Dong could tell, this smile appeared rather cold. Looks like the former still had a little grudge over the fact that Lin Dong had snatched the spirit accumulation praying mat away in the auction previously. This kind of person usually did not have a magnanimous heart, hence, Lin Dong did take too much notice of Huazong's gaze, as he clasped his hands towards Mu Qian and said, "Since Miss Mu has some matters, I will make my leave first. Goodbye." After speaking, Lin Dong ignored Huazong, and directly walked past the two. In response to Lin Dong's attitude, Huazong's eyes jumped for a moment, as his eyes turned a little colder. Lin Dong did not care at all if his actions would provoke Huazong. Even if that guy had some status in the ghastly puppet cult, he was currently by himself, and did not fear them in the slightest. If he could not beat them, he would run. Since the great desolate province was so vast, would it not be easy to hide a person? Therefore, with this lone wolf attitude, he directly exited the auction area, before determining his route, and heading straight for the South District. The ancient Heavenly Scales halberd could be considered one of Lin Dong's deadly weapons. The Heavenly Scales halberd techniques he practiced needed to rely on the former to bring out its greatest might. If he lost the ancient Heavenly Scales halberd, his battle power would drop by 10 to 20%. Thus, he needed to request a soul symbol master with real ability to personally upgrade the ancient Heavenly Scales halberd. Over these few days in Great Puppet City, he had already found information about all the famous soul symbol masters. Soul symbol masters were also divided into 3 categories of high, middle, and low, yet a high-level soul symbol master was as rare as a manifestation stage practitioner. In Great Puppet City, the highest level soul symbol master was merely at the middle level, and Lin Dong's target this time was precisely this person. This middle-level soul symbol master was extremely famous in Great Puppet City. The 1,000 treasure tower he oversaw was an existence that was second only to the 3 great factions, the ghastly puppet cult, the Great Devil sect and the Martial Alliance. The 1,000 treasure tower was located in Great Puppet City's South District. This was the most well-known zone within the city. When Lin Dong entered, he saw great tower-like buildings, from which light spread out, an extremely eye-catching sight. Lin Dong followed the crowd and walked into the extremely popular 1,000 treasure tower. He did not straight away look at the various items on sale, but directly walked into the inner hall, at which a servant girl immediately came forward and welcomed him respectfully. "Help me look for Grandmaster Cheng. I have already made an appointment," Lin Dong said in an indifferent manner. Upon hearing Lin Dong's words, the servant girl was clearly shocked for a moment. Grandmaster Cheng was the only middle-level soul symbol master in Great Puppet City. Requesting for his help would cost at least 20,000 pure yuan pills. While the servant girl was shocked, she also hastily led the way. Lin Dong followed behind her, crossing a corridor, before finally entering a spacious hall. Within the hall, an enormous cauldron was burning. The most important thing in the hall was a seated elder. Waves of extremely powerful mental energy spread out from his body, like a wave as it slowly squirmed. Such powerful mental energy! When he sensed the mental energy undulations from the elder, astonishment flitted across Lin Dong's eyes. With just this powerful mental energy alone, the former should be able to match up to a Qi creation stage practitioner. After leading Lin Dong here, the servant girl respectfully withdrew from the hall, and locked the door behind her. Grandmaster Cheng, this junior is known as Lin Dong. Please forgive me if I have disturbed you in any way. Lin Dong was very respectful of this elder who had reached the middle-level soul symbol master stage, as he politely clasped his hands together and greeted. Tell me your business here. Grandmaster Cheng glanced at Lin Dong, the former's voice like an ancient well that had no ripples. Lin Dong nodded his head, and without further ado, his hand grasped, as the ancient heavenly scales halberd appeared. With a light stamp, he spoke, Grandmaster, this ancient halberd of mine is not complete, hence, it is only a middle-grade soul treasure. Thus I want to request Grandmaster to help me complete the last step. While he explained, Lin Dong flicked his finger, and the ancient heavenly scales halberd in his hand slowly floated towards Grandmaster Cheng. The latter's expression was calm as he received it, and gently wiped his hand over the halberd. An astonished look flashed across his aged face, before he lifted his head to cast another glance at Lin Dong, and slowly said, This soul treasure is rather unique, however, to complete the last step, many materials are needed. The materials have already been gathered by this junior. Lin Dong's hand waved, as several materials flew out from his Qian bag, before landing in front of Grandmaster Cheng. Oh! After checking through the materials, Grandmaster Chen nodded his head, before replying in a casual tone, 50,000 pure yuan pills. Upon hearing this price, Lin Dong's eyes violently twitched for a moment. To think that helping to complete the last refining step would actually require 50,000 pure yuan pills. Damn it, this is too much. Such a rip-off. Fiercely cursing in his heart, Lin Dong could only extremely helplessly nod his head, as he flung out a Qian bag. This was all the pure yuan pills he had, and from now onwards, he would have thoroughly become a poor soul who did not own more than 10,000 pure yuan pills. Grandmaster Cheng calmly accepted the Qian bag, and casually tossed it into a cauldron behind him without checking its contents. He then spoke in a toneless voice, refining will take 3 days. During these 3 days, you can stay here, however, you cannot make any noise, or else, you should voluntarily leave. Other than that, there is a 30% chance of failure, and if that happens, the ancient halberd materials will be completely destroyed. Lin Dong slowly nodded his head. He already knew all of this. Although the 30% chance of failure caused him to feel somewhat nervous, it felt much more worth and relieving than the low-level soul symbol master's chances of failure, which surpassed 50%. Phew! After saying a prayer in his heart, Lin Dong also sat down. The ancient heavenly scales halberd was rather important to him, and he did not plan to leave this place during these 3 days. It must succeed. Staring at Grandmaster Cheng, who was about to start his work, Lin Dong muttered inwardly to himself. Chapter 246, The Evolved Ancient Heavenly Scales Halberd. Seeing that Lin Dong chose to stay here, Grandmaster Cheng merely glanced at the former in an indifferent manner, and did not say anything more. His finger flicked, as the ancient heavenly scales halberd before him floated up. After which, one could only see a flame suddenly flashed in his eyes, before actually directly penetrating through, and gushing out. Mental energy fire. As he stared at the almost transparent colored flame hovering before Grandmaster Cheng, Lin Dong's heart was jolted. He knew that this was the legendary mental energy fire, the kind of mental energy flame that was born only when mental energy had been condensed to the limit. The main reason why a soul symbol master's attacking power far surpassed an ordinary symbol master was the existence of this mental energy fire. In the face of this kind of mental energy fire, even UN power cultivators who had reached the Qi creation stage did not dare to be the slightest bit neglectful. After all, if one was heavily injured by this thing, it was very likely to leave behind an extremely serious residual effect. Mental energy fire did not do much harm to the body, but to the mind, it possessed an exceptionally strong erosion power. After summoning the mental energy fire, Grandmaster Cheng's expression slowly turned to one of concentration. His sleeves waved about, as the ball of mental energy fire spread out, wrapping around the ancient heavenly scales halberd. Creak creak. As the mental energy fire gushed forth, the ancient heavenly scales halberd immediately started to tremble violently, and the numerous tiny scales on its body suddenly gave signs of opening up. With respect to this situation, Grandmaster Cheng's expression did not change, as he opened his mouth and spit out another ball of mental energy fire, which wrapped around a dark golden metal material. As it was burned by mental energy fire, the solid metal material gradually started to melt at a slow speed. Some grayish-black impurities dripped down from it, landing on the ground, and corroding tiny holes in it. Lin Dong silently sat in the hall, watching Grandmaster Cheng's every move without blinking. As a fellow symbol master, he was able to sense that while the metal material was refined, the latter's mental energy transformed into thousands of strands and poured in, changing the countless tiny bonds. This was an extremely complex work, and only practitioners that possessed powerful mental energy would be able to have such meticulous control. Under Lin Dong's watch, the dark golden metal material was completely transformed into a ball of viscous golden fluid after 3 whole hours. After this refinement process, Grandmaster Cheng's gnarly finger lightly pointed, as the ball of golden liquid sprinkled on the ancient heavenly scales halberd in an extremely well-distributed way. Ch. As this dark golden liquid was sprinkled on it, the ancient heavenly scales halberd's trembling turned increasingly intense. Under the tempering of mental energy fire, this fluid assimilated into the halberd's body little by little, causing a trace of dark gold to be added to the ancient halberd. Faintly, the halberd's body also seemed to grow longer. After completing this step, Grandmaster Cheng once again started to refine the other materials. Towards this repeated actions, Lin Dong did not show even the slightest bit of irritation. His attentive look was like a studious disciple, as he took in Grandmaster Cheng's every little movement. This continuous refining of materials lasted for an entire day. Over this period of time, Lin Dong did not close his eyes at all. After training to his level, even 10 days without sleeping was nothing much. His strong body was enough to deal with the tiredness normal people felt. On the second night, the last material was melted into liquid, and adhered to the ancient heavenly scales halberd. The current ancient heavenly scales halberd seemed a little multicolored, a vastly different look than its original scarlet color. Every part had a different color, and this was because the refining had yet to be complete. Phew! After the last material was refined, Grandmaster Cheng sighed in relief. He looked at Lin Dong, and casually said, "I will first rest once before starting the final step. During this step, I will blend the various characteristics of these rare materials into the ancient halberd. If I succeed, your ancient halberd will become a high-grade soul treasure, but if the fusion fails, the original structure will be destroyed, and this ancient halberd will be no more." Upon hearing these words, Lin Dong's heart clenched tightly, as he heavily nodded his head. After saying this, Grandmaster Cheng straightaway closed his eyes, resting this way for 5 whole hours before finally opening his eyes again. Currently, his mental energy had mostly recovered. His expression slowly turned solemn, as he opened his mouth, and extremely vigorous mental energy gushed forth, wrapping around the now colorful ancient heavenly scales halberd. Boom boom! Wave after wave of heat spread out in the hall. This heat wave was very strange. It clearly did not give off the feeling of being overly hot, but it caused one to feel as if one was in an oven. Mental energy gushed out from Lin Dong's Nuan Palace, and completely covered his body, as the unusual heat wave dissipated into nothingness. His unwavering gaze was fixed on the ancient heavenly scales halberd that was wrapped in the raging mental energy fire. He knew that this was the most crucial moment. Creak! Faced with the mental energy fire that had suddenly become much fiercer than before, wisps of green smoke actually started rising from the ancient heavenly scales halberd. The numerous liquids that adhered to the surface of the ancient halberd also began to boil, and were forced by the mental energy fire to continuously invade the interior of the ancient halberd. Buzz. As the characteristics of these metal materials invaded the interior of the ancient halberd, the balance between them seemed to be broken. The halberd frantically shook, faintly emitting a buzzing sound. Rays of dazzling light also burst out from the ancient halberd, the formidable light violently shooting towards the hall, while filled with tyrannical destructive power. Humph! Feeling the resistance from the ancient halberd, Grandmaster Cheng snorted. A portion of powerful mental energy rushed forth, transforming into a mental energy prison, which bounded up the area a dozen meters around the ancient heavenly scales halberd. When the rays shot onto the mental energy prison, they caused several ripples to form, which quickly dissipated. "You better fuse for me." Grandmaster Cheng's expression turned serious, and soon after, his huge hand suddenly clenched, as the mental energy fire around the ancient heavenly scales halberd abruptly shrunk. As the mental energy fire abruptly shrunk, all of the metal liquid on the ancient halberd was directly pushed into the ancient halberd. A resplendent ray instantly shot out from the ancient heavenly scales halberd, penetrating the surrounding mental energy prison, and leaving behind a deep black hole in the ground. Such a tyrannical soul treasure! Upon seeing this scene, astonishment flashed across Grandmaster Cheng's eyes. Soon after, his huge hand grabbed in the air, as an invisible large mental energy hand firmly grabbed onto the ancient halberd which was giving off resplendent light. Lin Dong was incomparably nervous as he stared at the struggling ancient heavenly scales halberd in Grandmaster Cheng's hand. He was faintly able to see that as the light rushed out, the ancient heavenly scales halberd's shape seemed to undergo tiny changes, while its formidable aura also grew increasingly dense. Buzz buzz. Urgent buzzing noises were endlessly emitted by the ancient heavenly scales halberd. Later on, that buzzing sound seemed to gradually evolve into an extremely low and unique dragon's cry. That cry quietly resounded in the hall, causing Lin Dong's and Grandmaster Cheng's expressions to change. The former was pleasantly surprised, while the latter was shocked. He clearly did not expect that this ancient halberd would actually be able to emit the legendary cry of a mythological beast. Swish! While Grandmaster Cheng was shocked, the light on the ancient heavenly scales halberd grew even brighter, and directly blew up the huge mental energy hand. An extremely formidable light burst forth, directly shattering the hall ceiling to bits. "Come here!" Lin Dong hastily beckoned, and the resplendent ray of light flew over, before finally extremely obediently appearing in his hand. Lin Dong held the ancient heavenly scales halberd and heavily stamped on the ground. The light on it slowly weakened, and when he looked at it, a breathtaking look instantly appeared in his eyes. Compared to before the refining, the ancient heavenly scales halberd was now even longer, and the tiny scales on the halberd's body now leaned towards a heavy and dark gold color. However, what mainly caused Lin Dong's pupils to shrink, was that the arrangement of the scales seemed to faintly form the shape of a dragon, and looked extremely mystical. At the tip of the halberd, two sharp points extended at an angle from the left and right. A cold light seemed to flash between, giving it a sinister and bloodthirsty look, like that of a huge dragon's maw that could swallow the world. Its presence was astonishing indeed. Excellent! Lin Dong fondled the ancient heavenly scales halberd admiringly, as delight bubbled up in his eyes. The current ancient heavenly scales halberd was several times stronger than before. According to Lin Dong's guess, even when compared to Wang Yan's great Luo golden spear, the ancient heavenly scales halberd would not give way in the slightest. Truly a great soul treasure. While Lin Dong lovingly fiddled with the ancient heavenly scales halberd, the tightly shut hall door was suddenly pushed open. A figure walked in, passionately staring at the ancient halberd in Lin Dong's hands, while intense greed swirled in his eyes. The person who had suddenly barged in caused Lin Dong's and Grandmaster Cheng's expressions to change. As cast their gazes over, their expressions darkened. Hua Zong! Staring at the person who had barged in, Lin Dong's expression sunk a little. This person actually turned out to be the ghastly puppet cult's Hua Zong. Chapter 247, A Complication. As he stared at Hua Zong, who had suddenly barged in, Lin Dong's eyes sunk. However, even before he could speak up, that Grandmaster Chen immediately shouted out angrily, Huazong, do you not know the rules? This is my 1000 treasure tower and it does not belong to your ghastly puppet cult. When he heard Grandmaster Chen's enraged words, that Huazong merely laughed. Then, without a trace of sincerity, he cupped his hands at Grandmaster Cheng before he smiled and said, Haha, my apologizes. I heard a loud commotion and I was unable to suppress the curiosity in my heart. Therefore, I intruded into your building. I hope that Grandmaster Chen can understand. With regards to his insincere words, that Grandmaster Chen was still fuming with rage. Then, he coldly said, please leave now. In the future, if you break my 1000 treasure towers rules again, even if your father is an elder of ghastly puppet cult, I will include you in my 1000 treasure tower blacklist. Evidently, that Grandmaster Chen was extremely outraged by Huazong's actions. If it were not for the fact that the latter had an extraordinary background, he would have likely slapped him already. Nonetheless, currently, his position was hardly better. With regards to Grandmaster Chen's attitude, that Huazong simply laughed as he did not mind it at all. Then, his eyes stared fervently at the ancient scales heavenly halberd in Lin Dong's hands. Hidden deep within his eyes, was a greedy glint. Finally, he cupped his fists towards the two of them, before he slowly exited. Bang! When he saw Huazong exit, that Grandmaster Chen waved his sleeves before he solidly shut the door. As he stared that closed door, Lin Dong's eyes glimmered gently. He had never expected that Huazong actually dared to barge into this place. Furthermore, based on the greedy glint in the latter's eyes, he knew that he would definitely encounter some trouble. Your ancient halberd has been successfully refined. This business transaction is completed. Grandmaster Chen turned to look at Lin Dong, before he casually said. Furthermore, I should warn you. Leave Great Puppet City as soon as possible. Lin Dong gently nodded his head, before he cupped his hands and thanked Grandmaster Chen. Then, he kept his ancient heavenly scales halberd in his Qian bag, before he immediately turned and left. Usually, when they were refining a soul treasure, the 1000 treasure tower would prohibit anyone from entering, in order to avoid drawing attention from others. However, this time around, that Huazong actually forcefully barged in. Hence, 1000 treasure tower should be somewhat responsible as well. Of course, if it were an ordinary individual that barged in, perhaps the 1000 treasure tower would make an example out of him. However, this Huazong was no ordinary individual. This person was not only a custodian of ghastly puppet cult, but his father was also an elder of ghastly puppet cult. Therefore, he possessed tremendous influence and even the 1000 treasure tower could not afford to offend him. Hence, this matter could only be ultimately resolved by Lin Dong. As he stared at Lin Dong's back, that Grandmaster Chen softly sighed. Though he was extremely outraged by Huazong's actions, his hands were tied. After all, the latter's background was simply too overwhelming. Lin Dong's face was calm as he walked out of the large hall. As he walked along the corridors, just as he reached the end of the corridor, he expectedly saw several figures standing guard there. One of them was indeed Huazong. When Lin Dong saw Huazong, a smile surfaced on the latter's feminine face. Then, he brought along two subordinates before he quickly walked forward and said with a smile, "My friend, they say that it takes a fight to get to know each other. I must admit that our small contest at the auction house was pretty satisfying. My name is Huazong and I am the custodian of Ghastly Puppet Sect in Great Puppet City. May I know what your name is?" Lin Dong. Lin Dong glanced at this fellow, who had a fake smile plastered on his face, before he replied calmly. Even though he had removed his bamboo hat, evidently that Huazong was still able to identify him through other means. "Haha, so you are Lin Dong, brother." Huazong smiled before his eyes gradually concentrated on Lin Dong's body. With a smile, he said, "That spirit accumulation praying mat should have quite a few wonderful properties. However, since Lin Dong brother was interested in it, I was naturally not going to snatch it away. Previously, I coincidentally saw that Lin Dong brother had refined quite a formidable weapon. Haha, right now, I lack a weapon myself. If Lin Dong brother is willing to part with it, I will be sure to give you a satisfactory price. After hearing his words, Lin Dong's expression did not change at all. Evidently, he had expected the latter's words. Immediately, he casually replied, I am not selling. Kid, it's a blessing that my young master is willing to buy something from you. Don't fail to appreciate his kindness. When he saw Lin Dong's reply, a hideous middle-aged man standing beside Hua Zong instantly coldly chuckled. Hey, Hua-san, be polite. Lin Dong brother is still considering. Standing aside, the smile on Hua Zong's feminine face intensified before he retorted that middle-aged man. Am I right? Lin Dong brother. After he spoke, he once again looked at Lin Dong. However, the smile on his face felt like a menacing knife. Lin Dong stared at Hua Zong. Right now, this fellow ahead of him seemed just like a poisonous smiling python, and it made him feel extremely uncomfortable and disgusted. Since you really want to buy my weapon, alright then. I will give you a discounted price, 3 million pure yuan pills. Staring at Hua Zong, a smile suddenly emerged on Lin Dong's lips as he said. When he heard Lin Dong's words, a tinge of shock flashed across Hua Zong's eyes. However, before that tinge of shock could spread across his face, the smile on his face similarly froze. 3 million pure yuan pills. The two men standing beside Hua Zong were also evidently shocked by that price, as they stared at Lin Dong as if he was a madman. 3 million pure yuan pills. That sum was enough for one to buy earthly soul treasures and manifestation-level martial arts. Haha, it seems like Lin Dong brother does not want to befriend me. The smile on Hua Zong's face froze, before it gradually weakened. A cold intent was hidden amongst his casual laughter. After all, everyone knew that Lin Dong was evidently fooling around with him by asking for such an exorbitant sum. If you think that it is too expensive, then forget about it. Lin Dong waved his hands as he stared at Hua Zong's frozen facial expression. Then, he felt somewhat satisfied inside his heart. After all, he really disliked his fellow. After he spoke, he took a sidestep before he tried to walk around Hua Zong. However, a cold glint flashed across the latter's eyes, before the two middle-aged men beside him immediately stepped out. With a cold glint in their eyes, waves of icy cold mental energy began to gradually emerge from their bodies. So what now? Are you going to rob me? When he saw this situation, Lin Dong's eyes twinkled as he coldly chuckled. Lin Dong brother, I do not wish to complicate this matter. After all, who doesn't want to have an additional friend instead of an enemy? How about this, I will offer you 150,000 pure yuan pills to buy the ancient halberd in your possession. Furthermore, in the future, if you encounter any problems in Great Puppet City, you can count on me. Hua Zong placed his hands at his back, as he casually spoke. 150,000. Lin Dong chuckled. That fellow is truly a scammer. Even if he auctioned his ancient heavenly scales halberd, it would definitely fetch a much higher price. I am not interested. After he casually replied, Lin Dong chose to ignore that fellow. As he took another step forth, the two middle-aged men coldly snorted. They were just like two giant obstructing walls filled with powerful mental energy, as they viciously charged. However, even as he faced their forceful obstructing attack, Lin Dong did not show any sign of retreating. With a cold glint in his eyes, an extremely vicious mental energy shockwave suddenly gushed out from within his Nuan palace. Boom! The three of their bodies solidly slammed together, before a tiny mental energy shockwave emerged from the epicenter. Then the surrounding crowd were all stunned as they saw the two muscular middle-aged men directly blown away. Then, they slammed on the ground and left a several dozen meters long mark on the ground, before they finally slammed against a pillar inside the large hall. Lin Dong was calm as his hand gently flicked across his clothes. During that previous collision, his body almost did not move at all. Though their mental energy were quite formidable, they were lacking in comparison to Lin Dong. Furthermore, with regards to physical strength, after Lin Dong mastered Bronze Thunder Body and Demonic Ape transformation, one slap from him was enough to send the two of them flying miles away. Mental energy. When he saw that his two subordinates had been easily blown away, a tinge of shock flashed across Huazong's eyes. Then, he stared somewhat peculiarly at Lin Dong before he said, "Oh, so you are a symbol master as well." Lin Dong glanced at him, before he ignored him and directly proceeded to walk out of the Thousand Treasure Tower. When he saw Lin Dong's actions, that Huazong's face darkened. His hands suddenly viciously grabbed forth, before his powerful mental energy directly turned into a dark giant hand and grabbed towards Lin Dong's head. Bang! When he saw that incoming dark mental energy giant hand, Lin Dong's eyes gleamed as a formidable mental energy gushed out from his Nuan palace and slammed against that giant hand. Immediately, a powerful mental energy shockwave erupted, causing several onlookers to hurriedly retreat. "You are indeed skilled." When he saw Lin Dong easily deflecting his mental energy attack, that Huazong coldly snorted. However, just as he was about to make his move again, a cold roar suddenly echoed out. "Huazong, this is my Thousand Treasure Tower. If you dare to mess around again, today, I will expel you." Lin Dong tilted his head only to see that the man who was shouting, was indeed Grandmaster Chen. "Haha, since Grandmaster Chen has spoken, Huazong will naturally respect your wishes." Huazong casually smiled and he did not attack again. After all, Grandmaster Chen had a pretty solid reputation in Great Puppet City. Therefore, it would not be wise to overly offend him. Immediately, he waved his hands at his two subordinates before he directly exited the Thousand Treasure Tower. However, just as he walked past Lin Dong, his footsteps gently halted before a microscopic voice entered into the latter's ears. "If you change your mind, feel free to look for me. I truly hope to prevent the worst case outcome from occurring. Nonetheless, if someone shows no understanding of the times, then perhaps my ghastly puppet sect will be interested in your corpse." As he stared at Huazong who was walking past him, Lin Dong's eyes gradually turned cold. Chapter 248, Secret of the Praying Mat. As Huazong left, the people surrounding the lobby, who had come to watch the excitement, also dispersed. However, before they dispersed, the gazes with which they looked at Lin Dong were tinged with a little pity. Offending Huazong in Great Puppet City was not a fun matter. Do not judge him based on his young age. Over these years, many people had died at his hands. All in all, he could be considered a tyrant in Great Puppet City. Lin Dong's expression was calm, unaffected by the surrounding gazes. His thinking was very clear-cut. Now that he was without any family and all by himself, no matter how powerful the ghastly puppet cult was, he could also run if he could not beat them. The great desolate province was so huge, how could that ghastly puppet cult possibly comb it inch by inch just to find him? "Kid, you should be careful, no one can help you in with these things. However, let me give you a word of advice, it will be best to leave Great Puppet City as early as possible." Huazong does not have much tolerance, and is greedy by nature. He will use all means to obtain anything he fancies, hence, quickly leaving this place will be much safer for you. Grandmaster Cheng walked near to Lin Dong and warned him in an indifferent tone. "Many thanks to Grandmaster." Lin Dong smiled a little, and politely clasped his hands together towards Grandmaster Cheng. He naturally did not hope that the latter would truly be able to step in and help him solve these troubles. After all, they were strangers who had met by chance, and the fact that Grandmaster Chen had warned him was already not bad at all. Therefore, after cupping his fists in thanks, Lin Dong directly walked out of the Thousand Treasure Tower. As he stood at the entrance, a pondering expression was revealed on his face. No matter how alone he was, he still after all needed to be a little more cautious. Now that he had offended Huazong, he should not be able to linger for long in Great Puppet City. Of course, Lin Dong did not leave immediately. Huazong's words from before were clearly aimed to make Lin Dong understand the disparity between them, and hence cause him to take the initiative to hand over the ancient heavenly scales halberd. Although Lin Dong saw this as Huazong being delusional, he could borrow this time and optimize his condition. For example, sorting out the spirit accumulation praying mat he had obtained from the auction. If he was able to obtain some benefit from it, even if Huazong made a move, Lin Dong would have more cards to play. As these thoughts flashed across his head, Lin Dong did not hesitate any longer, and straight away headed towards the inn he was staying at. Along the way, feel watching eyes from extremely hidden places. He knew that these should be the spies that Huazong had arranged. Given his status in Great Puppet City, every little matter would be reported to him, and this should also be why he believed that Lin Dong would be unable to escape the palm of his hand. Lin Dong did not mind this surveillance, and directly returned to the inn, before tightly shutting the room door. Without further ado, he sat on the bed, and with a flick of his hand, the old yellow spirit accumulation praying mat appeared before him, as he icily snorted, "All right, next, it's time to see what you can do. If this thing bought with 100,000 pure yuan pills is not the least bit useful, let's see how you will repay me." Little Martin unhurriedly flew out from the stone talisman in Lin Dong's palm, before standing on top of the praying mat. Its little claws scratched its face, as it let out a dry cough. "Let's look at it together." Lin Dong rolled his eyes, ignoring it as his gaze concentrated on the spirit accumulation praying mat. It appeared an old yellow color, and looked it had some history. Threads of cooling energy flowed out from the praying mat. This kind of energy had no reaction to yuan power, but when it touched mental energy, it would feel as if one dipping into ice water, causing one's mind to feel coldly refreshed. Yet, besides this, Lin Dong did not discover any other use, which caused his expression to turn black. Did he really spend 100,000 pure yuan pills to buy this broken thing? Try using mental energy to access it. Little Martin probed. "It's useless, I have no idea what this praying mat is made of, mental energy cannot enter it," Lin Dong casually replied. Little Martin was a little vexed as it scratched its fur. It was a little embarrassed as it stared at the symbols on the praying mat, which even it felt was extremely complicated and cryptic. Little Martin understood that if it was not for its instigation, Lin Dong would definitely not have spent 100 pure yuan pills to buy an item of unknown capabilities. "How about trying to use fire to burn it for a while?" Little Martin gave a rather rancid idea. In response, Lin Dong stared at it for quite some time, before finally speaking in a calm voice, "Are you paying if it gets burnt?" Little Martin helplessly spread out its claws. It was also alone, and in fact, even more alone than Lin Dong. God damn it, upon seeing that even this guy had learnt this mannerisms, Lin Dong could not help but laugh at himself a little. In the end, he could only retrieve the candle on the table, and very carefully place it under the praying mat. However, even under the flame, the praying mat did not show any signs of burning, yet, at the same time, no special phenomenon appeared. Evidently, using fire to burn it was also useless. "Didn't you say that there seems to be something within this praying mat?" Upon seeing this sight, Lin Dong was somewhat unwilling as he inquired. "It indeed feels that way, however, it is similar to a locked treasure chest. Even if I know that there is a treasure inside, we are unable to open to lock," Little Martin helplessly replied. After hearing this, Lin Dong was somewhat disappointed. This damned praying mat, nothing seemed to be able to enter it, fire did not work, and even tearing it apart was not possible. What was the use of knowing that it was a little special? "You can slowly fiddle with it, while I cultivate for a while. We will leave Great Puppet City tomorrow, I'm afraid we cannot stay for long in this place." After once again spending some effort on the spirit accumulation praying mat, Lin Dong finally chose to give up. There was currently an enemy eyeing him, and he needed to ensure that his condition was good at all times. How could he possibly waste too much time on these fruitless actions? "Okay." Little Martin nodded its head, its eyebrows tightly knitting together as it observed the praying mat, in hopes of unraveling this strange object. Meanwhile, Lin Dong slowly closed his eyes and started his daily cultivation routine. As Lin Dong entered into cultivation mode, the room became quiet. Little Martin seemed to be infatuated with this strong praying mat, directly seating on it, as its gaze continuously followed the complex symbols, in hopes of discovering the special effects and uses of these symbols. In the blink of an eye, a night stealthily passed in this silent manner, while the humongous city once again grew noisy. When Lin Dong exited from his cultivation state, he found a red-eyed little Martin, and was taken aback, as he hastily asked in a careful manner, "Are you all right?" The current little Martin's eyes were red, as it unwaveringly stared at the strange praying mat. From this appearance, it was as if it had not closed its eyes for the entire night. Little Martin did not take the least bit notice of Lin Dong's inquiry. Its eyes were fixed on the praying mat, as if its mind was stuck inside the mat. In fact, even its breathing had become a little hurried. Lin Dong was clearly a little frightened by little Martin's state. Ever since he had known it, this was the first time he had seen this kind of appearance on the little Martin, which liked to call itself Grandfather Martin, and mention its extraordinary background. However, although he was a little worried about little Martin's current state, Lin Dong did not recklessly disturb it, and instead silently waited to one side, worry thick in his eyes. He had truly taken this guy, who he had lived together with for over a year, as a friend. Under Lin Dong's worried gaze, little Martin stared at the praying mat, its body completely still. After about half an hour, it finally sat down on the praying mat, and lifted its head, red eyes staring at Lin Dong in excitement, as it laughed. "Grandfather Martin has said that this is a treasure, yet you still don't believe it. You've unraveled it." Lin Dong was taken aback upon hearing this, as he hastily asked. "With Grandfather Martin working on it, how can there possibly be anything that I can't solve?" Little Martin proudly replied. "How do I use this thing?" Lin Dong very carefully inquired. "Kid, grab the praying mat, and pour both Yuan power and mental energy into it. Remember, you need to pour in these two types of energy at the same time, while maintaining the balance between them." Little Martin flicked its claw, sending the praying mat towards Lin Dong as it explained. "Oh!" Receiving the praying mat, Lin Dong a little skeptical. This was the first time he had encountered such a strange method. However, he did not delay, as his hands grabbed onto the praying mat. His mind moved, as Yuan power and mental energy simultaneously poured into the praying mat. Pop! As the two energies were poured a light flashed on the praying mat, before disappearing with a pop. Upon seeing this scene, Lin Dong was stunned. "Fool, I already told you that you need to maintain the balance between the two energies. Sending them in one stronger and one weaker, how can you call that balance?" To one side, the little Martin rolled its eyes and scolded after seeing this. "This word balance is not as easy to control as you say it is," Lin Dong helplessly said. "Anyways, if you cannot achieve balance, you will have no way to discover the mystery of this praying mat," little Martin impatiently urged. Balance indeed contained the essence of the world. It was easy to talk about controlling it, but this was the only way. In response, Lin Dong could only let out a bitter laugh, and once again try to control the balance between the two. Little Martin had toiled on this praying mat for a whole night, and he could possibly give up so easily? It must be said, that maintaining the balance between the two powers was no simple matter. After failing dozens of times, Lin Dong's expression slowly turned to one of concentration. He was usually extremely stubborn, and he would not easily speak of giving up. Hence, Lin Dong spent the entire day with the praying mat. Two energies were tirelessly poured into the praying mat, and as he endlessly poured them in, he gradually began to sense this so-called feeling of balance. After all, practice makes perfect, and after failing for hundreds and thousands of times, one would be able to slowly discover what path to take. Pop! As he watched yet another light from the praying mat flicker and fade into nothingness, Lin Dong was not frustrated at all. He lifted his hands to pour in energy again, and his mind moved, as a portion of Yuan power and mental energy practically poured into the praying mat at the same moment. Pop! On the praying mat, light once again flashed. However, just when Lin Dong thought he had failed, and was preparing for the next infusion, the light on the praying mat suddenly grew brighter, as a strange undulation that caused Lin Dong's scalp to turn a little numb, slowly spread out from the light. Chapter 249, Yuan Essence Energy. There was a glow on the praying mat while a strange heart-palpitating vibration slowly spread out. Then, from the center of that praying mat, an approximately fist-size peculiar mixed energy source slowly formed. What is that? Lin Dong stared blankly at that mixed energy source that was appearing in the center of that praying mat. Right now, he was at a complete loss. He had never expected that such an object would appear after he poured in his UN power and mental energy at a perfect ratio into the praying mat. This is the power of fusion. Little Martin stared right at that peculiar energy source on the praying mat, before it excitedly exclaimed, "Damn, this praying mat is truly incredible. It is actually able to fuse UN power and mental energy together. Even at my peak, I was unable to accomplish such a feat. Who exactly was the one who created this praying mat? He could actually accomplish such a feat. Is the fused energy source very powerful?" Lin Dong carefully asked. "Extremely powerful." Little Martin solemnly nodded its head and said, "Most people are unable to perfectly fuse two different types of energy together. The only ones who can do so are undoubtedly the top elite practitioners. Right now, based on your current strength, the might of your fused energy is limited. However, if you use it correctly, its might will even exceed that of your final ancient heavenly scales halberd technique." When he heard those words, a tinge of shock flashed across Lin Dong's eyes. It seems like fusion was not as simple as a mere addition. Inside this spirit accumulation praying mat, there should be an extremely complex magical formation that helps you to fuse these two types of energy. Unfortunately, we are unable to learn the secrets of this formation. Else, if we could study and understand it, perhaps we can fuse the two different types of energy within your body. At that time, you will be unparalleled below the heavens. Little Martin's eyes were feverish. Evidently, it had never expected that there was such a powerful item inside this tiny praying mat. Furthermore, at his peak, it had tried to fuse these two types of energy together. However, in the end, it was unable to do so. Therefore, this goes to show just how complex fusion is. Lin Dong quietly nodded his head, before he stretched his palm out and gently grabbed onto that peculiar energy that was hovering above the praying mat. Though this energy source was not very forceful, the vibrations that it gave off caused one to be fearful of underestimating it. That mixed-colored energy source was hovering above Lin Dong's palm. As this energy source was fused from his own mental energy and UN power, it did not resist Lin Dong's commands. Since this peculiar energy is fused from mental energy and UN power, let's call it UN essence energy. Lin Dong played with that mixed energy source in his hand, before he suddenly smiled and pressed his palm on a tabletop. Immediately, a soft pop sound echoed out, before that solid wooden table was instantly blown into bits. Such destructive power! When he saw this sight, the smile on Lin Dong's face grew. Even though the item hidden within this praying mat was not a martial arts as he had expected, this fusion ability has far surpassed any item he could dream of. The destructive potential of this UN essence energy far exceeds that of UN power or mental energy alone. However, even though this item was extremely powerful, it required a substantial amount of UN power and mental energy. Previously, Lin Dong had poured in a substantial amount of UN power and mental energy. However, the UN essence energy that was fused was merely the size of a fist. "Kid, Grandpa Martin is never wrong. If you take this praying mat to the auction house now, disregarding creation stage practitioners, even nirvana stage practitioners will be fighting over it. A few million pure UN pills will still be a cheap price." Little Martin cockily said. Based on its facial expression, it was evidently extremely proud. "Great eyesight." Lin Dong raised his thumbs as he generously praised Little Martin. Even though he did not know exactly how valuable this praying mat's fusion ability was, he deduced that it would be pretty terrifying. In fact, 100,000 pure UN pills would likely amount to nothing. Right now, it should be time to leave. That Huazong has not received any news for one whole day. He should be getting impatient soon. After he stretched his back, Lin Dong stood up as he solemnly said. Inside the great puppet city, there were several elite practitioners from ghastly puppet cult. Therefore, it was somewhat dangerous to stay here and it was best to leave as soon as possible. After all, the moment when the Great Wasteland's ancient tablet's seal weakens is approaching. Therefore, it would be good to use this time to train outside. After he made his decision, without further ado, he swiped his palm. Immediately, Little Flame, who was laying on his bed like a little kitten, dashed forth and jutted into his arms. Then, Little Martin also transformed into a rainbow flash and returned to the stone talisman in his hand. After he slightly tidied the items in the room, Lin Dong directly exited the inn. However, when he left the inn, there was an additional straw hat on his head. Then, he headed out of Great Puppet City. Along the way, Lin Dong did not encounter any resistance as he successfully left the city. However, Lin Dong did not rejoice over this fact. Instead, his eyebrows began to gently furrow. He understood that based on Hua Zong's status in Great Puppet City, it was extremely easy for him to monitor a person in the city. Perhaps, right after he left the inn, he had already been discovered by the former's spy. However, what perplexed him was why that Hua Zong did not choose to stop him in the city. After all, Great Puppet City was his home base and he would have a much better chance of victory if he had made his move in there. With these doubts in his mind, Lin Dong began to turn increasingly cautious. As he stared at the large pathway ahead of him, he suddenly swerved and directly darted into the dense forest on his left, before he upped his speed. Just like a black shadow, he traversed through the woods. This trip lasted for several minutes before a cold breeze suddenly blew across Lin Dong's head, causing the former's footsteps to halt immediately. His body was just like a spring as he rebounded several meters back. Swoosh swoosh! Just as Lin Dong's body rebounded, arrows, filled with a bloody smell, lightning quick flew towards him from within the dense forest, before it viciously struck at the point where Lin Dong had previously stood at. Those arrows struck deep into the ground, as their tails continuously vibrated. As he faced this sudden sneak attack, Lin Dong's eyes grew increasingly dark. It seems like that Hua Zong does not intend to let him off easily. Sigh, Lin Dong brother, your decision has truly let me down. Just as Lin Dong's eyes turned cold, the trees ahead of him began to shake before a dozen over figures emerged. One of them seemed somewhat disappointed, as he stared at Lin Dong, who was nearby, and softly sighed. Hua Zong. Lin Dong stared at that man before his eyes turned increasingly dark. Then, his eyes swept across the dozen of people ahead of him, before his pupils began to shrink. That was because, he discovered that this time, among the crew that Hua Zong had brought, there was an initial form creation stage practitioner and 2 advanced form creation stage practitioner. In addition to Hua Zong's own formidable strength, this lineup was truly terrifying. It seems like Hua Zong was truly eager to obtain his ancient heavenly scales halberd. Else, he would not have bothered summoning so many elite practitioners. As he faced this lineup, even Lin Dong felt somewhat troubled. Moreover, he knew that there was definitely a pretty powerful symbol puppet in Hua Zong's possession. Therefore, if they attacked him together, it would be quite difficult for him just to escape. Snort, does this kid really think that he can easily escape from Custodian Hua Zong? The only reason why we did not attack you in the city was because we were worried that the Great Devil Sect or Marital Alliance would intervene. Else, don't even dream of taking a step out of the city. One of the advanced form creation stage practitioner, with a curved eagle nose, started hideously at Lin Dong as he chuckled. Kid, it's best for you to surrender now or else you would surely suffer. Based on your current strength, it is impossible for you to escape from us. The other advanced form creation stage practitioner coldly chuckled. Lin Dong's face was solemn as a glint flashed across his eyes. Then, he immediately turned and began to flee. Lin Dong brother, even though I am disappointed by your decision, let me give you one final chance. Hand over that praying mat and ancient halberd, and be my slave for 1 year. Then, I will let you live. How about it? Hua Zong started right at Lin Dong, with a sadistic glint in his eyes, just like he was a cat tormenting a mouse. Evidently, he had every confidence in his lineup. Furthermore, Lin Dong was only at initial from creation stage. Even if he were at initial Qi creation stage, he would have a tough time escaping from him. Alright. With regards to Huazong's torment, Lin Dong suddenly smiled and replied. If that is the case, when he heard his reply, Huazong's eyes twinkled before his voice suddenly turned cold, do it, kill him now. Evidently, Huazong somewhat understood Lin Dong's personality. Therefore, he knew that Lin Dong was merely teasing him with his reply. Immediately, he did not give Lin Dong any opportunity to retort, before he waved his palm and commanded. Contained within his voice, was a thick killing intent. Bang! After Huazong spoke, those two advanced form creation stage practitioners immediately grinned. Then, just like two vultures swooping towards their prey, they dashed towards Lin Dong, while a thick Yuan power exploded from within their hands. When those two advanced form creation stage practitioner attacked, the rest of their facial expressions turned hideous too as they slowly spread out. They were all moving in sync and faintly, they managed to cut off all of Lin Dong's escape routes. It seems like this time, the crew members brought by Huazong were all fairly skilled. Huazong stood on a tree branch with his hands hugging onto his chest. His eyes were cold like a wolf as he stared at Lin Dong, who was being surrounded. A grin was similarly plastered on his lips. Huff! As he stared at the Yuan power vibration that were approaching in from every direction, Lin Dong took in a deep breath as his face turned increasingly solemn. It seems like he was in a truly dangerous situation today. However, it would not be so easy to kill him. Chapter 250, Encirclement. Bang! Vigorous Yuan power erupted in the forest, as the three form creation stage practitioners practically moved at the same time. Formidable attacks were aimed at Lin Dong's vital points from all directions, while the dead trees on the ground were instantly turned to dust. Kid, lay down your arms obediently. The eagle nose form creation stage practitioner's face was full of malevolence, as he looked towards Lin Dong as if he was a prey that was about to be obtained. Lin Dong's aura was weaker than his by a tier, furthermore, the three of them were attacking together. From his point of view, Lin Dong had no chance to escape. However, things did not go as he had expected. Lin Dong did not show any signs of escaping, instead, a cold light flowed on his calm face, before a resplendent gold light suddenly exploded. Buzz! Golden light burst forth, as a huge golden platform suddenly floated ahead of Lin Dong. Quickly, he extended his hands, and actually grabbed onto the golden platform, before ruthlessly slapping it towards the charging trio like a windmill. Bang! The trio's formidable palm strikes landed heavily on the golden platform. In the instance that they made contact, the trio's expressions simultaneously changed abruptly. They could clearly feel an extremely terrifying force flowing from the golden platform, and violently dashing towards their bodies. A ferocious wind spread out in mid-air, as the Eagle Nose Man trio's bodies actually flew backwards. Their feet pointed several times in the air, before they finally landed on the ground hideously. This kid possessed such overwhelming brute force. When they landed on the ground, the trio looked at each other. Right now, all of them could also see the shock in each other's eyes. Evidently, they had never expected that their combined might would be forcefully jolted back by a mere initial form creation stage kid. Interesting. Atop the tree branch, the sneer on Huazong's face turned a little more intense when he saw this scene. The more strength Lin Dong displayed, the more interested Huazong would be. If Lin Dong was easily dealt with in 2 or 3 moves, it would be truly too boring. Crash! The golden platform moved as if it was full of power, as Lin Dong icily stared at the 3 figures. In the previous clash, he had been pushed back several steps. The combined powers of 3 form creation stage practitioners was not weak indeed. However, it was far from enough to make him stay. Don't tarry any more, kill him. The Eagle Nose Man trio were clearly used to working together against an enemy, as their teamwork was extremely good. After exchanging a glance at each other, their figures suddenly swept forth. Vigorous Yuan power erupted forth, transforming into 3 huge Yuan power palms, which ferociously slapped down at Lin Dong at the same time. Clang clang! Lin Dong's gaze turned a little more chilly, as the skin on his body quietly turned bronze green. Immediately, his power once again surged. With the golden platform dancing in the air, it directly smashed towards the 3 UN power palms in an extremely forceful manner. After smashing that 3 UN power palms, Lin Dong's arm suddenly flung, as the golden platform in his hand was ruthlessly thrown. His target were the 2 advanced form creation stage practitioners. The golden platform swept across the air with terrifying force. As a result, even the 2 advanced form creation stage practitioners did not dare to be the slightest bit negligent, as they hastily extended their hands, before they heavily slammed against the golden platform. Bang! Just as the 2 clashed with the golden platform, Lin Dong lightning quick appeared before the initial form creation stage practitioner. A cold light flashed in his eyes, as a simple punch filled with astonishing power smashed into the initial form creation stage practitioner's chest. Pu Chi! Lin Dong's punch was heavy as a mountain, and even an initial form creation stage practitioner could not endure it. Immediately, the unlucky guy's expression paled, as he violently vomits a mouthful of blood, his body flying backwards, and ruthlessly smashing into a huge towering tree. His body curled up in pain, evidently, his wounds were not light. Lin Dong's attack was done in a flash. When the other 2 advanced form creation stage practitioners regained their wits, they saw their companion being heavily injured, at which they immediately burst into anger. Kill him! Upon hearing the 2's furious roars, the dozen or so surrounding figures immediately lifted the bows in their hands, targeting Lin Dong, as UN power gushed forth, and numerous bloody arrows shot towards the latter. Humph! Lin Dong coldly snorted as he sensed these arrows. Within his Nuan palace, mental energy rushed forth, and the arrows instantly froze in mid-air, before turning around under his control, and flying back to where they came from at an even more ferocious speed. Plop plop! Arrows violently returned, immediately boring holes through some unfortunate fellows, as their bodies fell down from the trees to the ground. Just as Lin Dong used mental energy to withstand the arrows, a ferocious force once again swiftly swept towards him. The 2 advanced form creation stage practitioners had once more attacked at the same moment, as a powerful force enveloped Lin Dong's body. Bang bang! Golden UN power wrapped Lin Dong's body, and his fists were like mountains. Every time they punched forth, a low explosion sounded out. When they collided against the 2 advanced form creation stage practitioners, a frightening gale unfurled outwards, causing the dirt on the ground to fill the air. Atop the tree branch, Hua Zong gazed down upon the extremely intense battle, as a look of concentration gradually appeared in his cold eyes. Lin Dong merely had the strength of the initial form creation stage, yet, he had withstood 2 advanced form creation stage practitioners' attacks, and had even found an opportunity to injure an initial form creation stage practitioner. If this battle result was spread, it would be enough to make his name shake Great Puppet City. From the way the color of his skin changes, it should be a type of body-enhancing martial art, no wonder his raw power is so overwhelming. It will likely be able to match up to those guys of the Great Devil Sect. You are indeed quite capable, no wonder you dare to disregard my words. However, before my ghastly puppet cult, every genius ultimately becomes nothing but thrash. Hua Zong stared at that intense battle below, while the grin on his face slowly grew. Boom! Lin Dong's bronze-green fist viciously collided with the eagle-nosed duo's palm attack, before a terrifying UN power vibration exploded forth. Promptly, the 3 of their bodies were blown back, as they hurriedly tried to stabilize themselves. Lin Dong retreated 4 steps. However, just as he made his final step, a cold breeze suddenly emerged behind him. Immediately, inside his Nuan palace, an extremely powerful mental energy exploded from his 4 soul symbols, before they formed an extremely solid mental energy barrier behind him. Squeak! The instant he formed his mental energy barrier, a piercing squeaking sound swiftly echoed out, as 3 grayish narrow blades, filled with a menacing killing aura stealthily flew towards him. However, when those 3 sharp grayish narrow blades encountered the mental energy barrier, their speed immediately dropped. Taking advantage of the drop in pace, Lin Dong's figure suddenly flashed. Then, these three narrow blades filled with a bone-chilling aura exploded forth, before they narrowly missed Lin Dong's head. Haha, good reflexes! A narrow blade penetrated through the air and hovered in mid-air, before Huazong's figure slowly drifted forth and stepped onto it. Then, staring at Lin Dong, he said with a twinkly smile on his face. When he saw Huazong's expression, Lin Dong's eyes twinkled. Evidently, the former was about to make his move. Right now, he was in a somewhat tense situation. Even though he had injured the initial form creation stage practitioner, however, Huazong and the two advanced form creation stage practitioners remain the real threat. Therefore, if the three of them attacked together, coupled with Huazong's sneaky mental energy attacks, even Lin Dong would be somewhat troubled. Moreover, there were still several of Huazong's gang around, continuously eyeing him. Once he revealed an opening, it would probably lead to a deadly blow. Therefore, this fight cannot be dragged on. Lin Dong's eyes gently glimmered, before his facial expression suddenly turned solemn. Then, ignoring the two advanced form creation stage practitioners, he gripped his palm before his ancient heavenly scales halberd immediately appeared. With a golden glow, the size of his halberd directly swelled by 2 times, before Lin Dong's figure lightning quick merged with his halberd and transformed into a rainbow flash. With a powerful and unstopped force wind, he viciously stabbed towards Huazong, who was hovering on a narrow blade. When he saw Lin Dong's menacing incoming attack, that Huazong coldly chuckled and he did not forcefully counter his attack. Instead, his figure flashed before he dodged it immediately. However, the instance when he dodged, he was suddenly hit with a realization. Once he dodged, he had created an opening in his enclosure. Haha, Huazong! If you want the ancient halberd in my hands, then feel free to chase after me. I shall entertain you. However, by the time he had realized this, it was already too late. Immediately, Lin Dong took advantage of the opening created, before his figure flashed and lightning quick darted into the vast woodlands. Then, a cold chuckle sounded out from a distance. Chase after him! I want this kid's life! As he stared at Lin Dong's disappearing figure, Huazong's face gradually turned increasingly hideous and dark. Promptly, he waved his hand, before a menacing voice, coupled with a skull-numbing chill slowly sounded out. After he spoke, he immediately took charge and lightning quick dashed into the woodlands. Behind him, the two advanced form creation stage practitioners hastily nodded their hands, before they followed behind him with hideous looks. They had arranged such a formidable lineup, yet they were unable to trap a mere initial form creation stage practitioner. If they really let him escape, then in the future, wouldn't they become the butt of jokes? Therefore, this person must die. Chapter 251, Soul Symbol Master. Lin Dong's figure was just like a leopard in the forest. He was extremely strong and robust as he traveled. Even the leaves at the tip of his feet did not seem to tremble in the slightest when he landed. Meanwhile, his body was like a ghost as he dashed forth. Have they arrived? While he was dashing, Lin Dong's gaze slightly trembled. He could sense that Huazong and the rest were closely tailing behind him. Moreover, Huazong's mental energy was evidently very powerful, hence, his senses were very sharp. In fact, a faintly discernible mental energy had locked onto Lin Dong since the beginning. This was one of the disadvantages of fighting with a symbol master. Due to their powerful mental energy and acute senses, escaping from them was no simple feat. Of course, if the enemy's mental energy was weaker than one's own, then one would be able to smash that trace of mental energy. Unfortunately, Huazong's mental energy did not seem to be the least bit weaker than Lin Dong's. They are too many of them, so I cannot allow myself to be pinned down. I need to scatter their forces. Lin Dong's gaze flickered. His opponents consisted of 2 advanced form creation stage practitioners, while that Huazong was extremely sinister, and it was likely that his battle power was not weaker than an advanced form creation stage practitioner. Hence, if the 3 of them joined hands, even Lin Dong would find the battle rather difficult. More importantly, this place was not far from Great Puppet City. Thus, if he was delayed for too long, and Huazong once again called for reinforcements, it would likely become truly troubling for Lin Dong. While his gaze flickered, Lin Dong's palm suddenly stroked little flame, as the corners of his mouth slightly lifted. He straightaway took off his clothes and wrapped them around little flame's body, before adding in a portion of mental energy. Little flame, draw away some of them. Focus only on running, and don't fight with them. Lin Dong lightly patted little flame, as he instructed it in a low voice. The current little flame already had a rather high intellect. Hence, it let out a low growl in response to Lin Dong's command, before it directly leapt out of Lin Dong's arms while its body instantly swelled. Then, its lightning wings shook, transforming into a flash as it flew in another direction. Although the current little flame would find it a little difficult to deal with an advanced form creation stage practitioner, the lightning wings from its evolution caused its speed to be unmatched even by Lin Dong. Using it to draw away some of the enemy forces would not be too dangerous. I'm interested to find out who will dare to chase me alone. Watching as little flame flew further and further away, a cold light flickered in Lin Dong's eyes. Perhaps he might only be able to flee from the trio's combined might, but as long as any of the three was not present, Lin Dong was confident that he would be able to take care of them. While a cold light glimmered in his eyes, Lin Dong's figure suddenly increased its speed. In the blink of an eye, he had disappeared into the vast forest. Not long after Lin Dong's figure disappeared, numerous breaking wind sounds closely followed, before a dozen figures appeared at the spot where Lin Dong and Little Flame had parted ways. Custodian Hua, why are we stopping? Upon seeing Huazong stop, the eagle-nosed duo were puzzled as they asked. That kid's presence has doubled. Huazong's eyebrows furrowed a little, as his gaze constantly swept between Lin Dong and Little Flame's direction. These two presences were exactly like Lin Dong's, yet, it was clear that only one of them was real. That kid is using some trick. Upon hearing these words, the eagle-nosed man could not help but let out in a low voice. The two of you go in that direction, and catch up to him. If you discover that it is the real one, send out a signal while you delay him. Huazong's gaze flickered. He was clearly decisive as he instantly made a decision and instructed. Then please be careful, Custodian Hua. After hearing these words, the eagle-nosed duo did not object. They were clearly aware of Huazong's strength. Even if that kid had some tricks up his sleeves, he would pose no threat to the latter. Furthermore, at that time, once the signal was released, the reinforcements will quickly arrive and that kid would have little chance of escaping. Swish! Gazing as the two of them who quickly left the group and gave chase, Huazong stared at the other direction with an icy cold gaze, before he waved his hands and commanded, "Go!" After he spoke, he immediately took the lead as his body dashed forth. Standing behind him, his dozen or so subordinates quickly followed. Oh, he sent away the two advanced form creation stage practitioners. Guess he must be rather confident in his own abilities. In the dense forest, Lin Dong softly chuckled. Evidently, he had already sensed the two advanced form creation stage practitioners leaving. This caused him to feel slightly surprised. It seems like this Huazong was truly confident in his own strength. Now, it's time to finish this off. Lin Dong's figure slowly landed, before entering into the dense forest, as his somewhat icy voice quietly dissipated. Swish swish! Within the forest filled with towering trees, figures swept forth one by one. The figure at the very front was Huazong, who wore an icy expression on his face. His keen gaze swept across the surrounding forest, as his eyebrows furrowed a little. Ever since he had entered this place, Lin Dong's presence seemed to have completely disappeared in an instant, and even Huazong himself was unable to sense the latter. Just as Huazong was frowning over this, an extremely soft and muffled sound suddenly rang out. He quickly turned his head, only to find two of his subordinates suddenly falling from the air, as an extremely fine line of blood appeared at their necks. This sudden change caused Huazong's subordinates to panic a little. However, before they could regain their wits, a cold wind floated from in front of them like a ghost, as they felt a cold sensation at their throats, and the scene before their eyes swiftly turned to darkness. Bang bang! Huazong's eyes coldly stared at the bodies that were falling in mid-air, with no intention of helping them at all until eventually, one of his subordinates was finally killed by that peculiar sneak attack. Then, a cold glint flashed across his eyes. Immediately, he turned around, before a giant palm formed from a greyish mental energy viciously flew towards the dense forest. That mental energy giant palm directly uprooted a giant tree. Promptly, a figure dashed out from within, before he landed steadily on a tree branch and smiled cheerfully at a stone-faced Huazong. "You actually decided to stop running. That's surprising." Huazong glanced at Lin Dong as he casually muttered. He did not feel the slightest heartache over his subordinates who were killed or maimed. "You actually led all these people to chase after me. That's surprising as well." Lin Dong smiled as he said. "Very soon, you will realize why I dare to chase after you. That is because in my eyes, you are nothing but an ant." A grin slowly emerged on Huazong's lips, before his expression suddenly turned solemn. As he gripped his palm, his greyish mental energy immediately turned into countless sharp blades that blanketed the horizon, before they viciously charged towards Lin Dong. "This attack is useless." When he saw this situation, Lin Dong did not move at all, as a stream of powerful mental energy immediately gushed out from within his Nuan palace and formed a mental energy barrier. No matter how many blades there were, they were all unable to penetrate through. "You are indeed a mental energy practitioner." As he sensed Lin Dong's formidable mental energy, Huazong coldly chuckled. Then, another stream of mental energy gushed out, before it sliced through all the surrounding large trees just like it was a sharp blade. Then, he manipulated these large tree trunks and flung them towards Lin Dong viciously. Snort! Lin Dong's foot heavily stomped against the ground, before a large amount of debris immediately flew forth. Promptly, he manipulated them with his mental energy, before they transformed into a flurry of stones that filled the horizons. As they collided haphazardly against the large trees, that scene was pretty remarkable. However, both of their attacks were merely testing blows. Therefore, in the next instance, Lin Dong once again lifted his hand. Immediately, a golden glow gushed forth before it turned into a golden platform. With a menacing force wind, he instantly flung it towards Huazong viciously. Bang bang! That golden platform howled forth, before it caused the surrounding air to explode. As a series of air explosion erupted, the resulting impact uprooted the dirt on the ground before several large ditches emerged. Mental energy magic hammer. However, even as he faced such a formidable pressuring attack, that Huazong did not panic. Mental energy immediately gushed forth before it directly turned into a several meters wide greyish mental energy hammer and viciously slammed against that golden platform. Clang! A piercing sharp noise erupted in mid-air, before that golden platform was actually forcefully blown back by Huazong. When he saw this situation, Lin Dong's body flashed before he appeared above that golden platform, while his whole body had once again turned bronze green. Then, he lifted up that golden platform before he once again viciously slammed it down. When he saw Lin Dong's brute force attack, Huazong involuntarily snorted. As he waved his sleeves, suddenly, a dark greyish figure flew out from his sleeves. With a powerful and menacing force, it then solidly slammed against that golden platform. Boom! When the two of them collided, an extremely vicious force wind erupted. Lin Dong was forced to retreat a step, while that figure was blown onto the ground. Its legs were like two sharp blades as they directly penetrated several meters deep into the ground. However, even after taking such a heavy hit, that figure seemed to have felt no pain at all, as it directly plucked its feet out from the ground and stared blankly at Lin Dong. Symbol puppet. Staring at the dark grey figure which gave off a strange smell, Lin Dong's pupils shrunk a little. That guy had finally sent out his symbol puppet. This symbol puppet looks to be even stronger than mine. Although it has not reached the upper levels, it can already be considered as the peak of the middle level. Lin Dong extended his slightly numb palm, as amazement filled his eyes. Evidently, he did not expect that Huazong's symbol puppet would actually be this strong. "Kid, didn't you want to know why I dared to chase you alone? Let me tell you now." After summoning his symbol puppet, a sinister light started to flow in Huazong's eyes. Meanwhile, an extremely powerful mental energy unfurled from his body like a storm. The corners of his mouth formed into a sinister smile, while his finger formidably pointed in the air, as a grey flame appeared at his fingertip. "Because, I am not a fourth seal symbol master, but a soul symbol master." Upon hearing Huazong's awe-inspiring voice, Lin Dong's pupils abruptly shrank. Chapter 252, Fierce Battle Against Huazong. Soul Symbol Master. Lin Dong's facial expression somewhat changed as he stared at the mental energy fire that was gathering on Huazong's fingertips, while waves emerged in his heart. He had never expected that Huazong was actually a soul symbol master. Furthermore, even though he was only a low-ranked soul symbol master, he was still several times more powerful than a fourth seal symbol master. Since Huazong was a soul symbol master and he possessed a symbol puppet that would even trouble an advanced form creations stage practitioner, his battle ability was able to match up to an initial Qi creation stage elite practitioner. That was ultimately the reason why he dared to chase after Lin Dong without a single trace of fear in his heart. With regards to his own strength, he had absolute confidence in it. Nonetheless, the strength that Lin Dong displayed had slightly shocked him. However, Huazong remained confident that in his hands, even a bright star like Lin Dong would be utterly outshone. "Kid, when I was killing and training myself in Great Desolate Province, you were still stuck in some backwaters. You are truly an ignorant brat." Huazong stared at Lin Dong before he coldly chuckled. Then, without giving Lin Dong any time to react, his finger viciously jutted out, before his greyish mental energy fire immediately dashed forth. Mental energy fire did not have wreaked much damage to one's physical body. However, if one was hit by it, the injuries suffered were several times more severe than a mere physical wound. That was because it would burn one's mental energy. In fact, it happened before that some unlucky fellows were directly reduced to retards by that mental energy fire. Therefore, mental energy fire was always the most powerful weapon of a soul symbol master. Hence, when Lin Dong saw that incoming mental energy fire, his face turned exceedingly solemn. With a flick of his mind, powerful mental energy immediately gushed out before they promptly formed into an array in front of him. Manifestation Symbol Array, Manifest Thousand Flames. An almost skull-sized formless fire swiftly emerged from within that symbol array. This was not the true mental energy fire, but rather it was a type of flames that Lin Dong formed by using the power of his symbol array. Therefore, its strength and power was truly lacking compared to mental energy flames. Snort. When he saw this situation, that Huazong involuntarily snorted, as a callous glint flashed across his eyes. As he pointed his finger, his greyish mental energy flames immediately viciously slammed against that thousand flames. When the two of them collided, a deep echo sounded out, before that mental energy fire directly forcefully consumed Lin Dong's thousand flames. Nothing but a firefly. What a joke! When he saw that thousand flames succumb immediately, the grin on Huazong's face grew. Then, he viciously grabbed his palm, before his mental energy flames immediately expanded rapidly and transformed into a greyish giant flaming hand, and viciously swiped at Lin Dong. Boom! When Huazong made his killing move, his symbol puppet, that was below him, suddenly stomped against the ground, before it turned into a lightning bolt and directly headed for Lin Dong. As it moved, its palm wind was just like a blade. It was extremely formidable and peculiar. In a split second, Huazong had thoroughly executed his attack. Furthermore, with the assistance of his symbol puppet, he had directly driven Lin Dong into a deadly situation. A soul symbol master together with a soul puppet, that was a nearly perfect killing move. As he sensed that dangerous aura within his heart, Lin Dong's facial expression began to turn increasingly solemn. Gripping his palm, his ancient heavenly scales halberd once again emerged, while a resplendent golden glow slowly circled around its body. Meanwhile, a dragon's tattoo seemed to faintly squirm, while a novel and peculiar sensation began to emerge from within his ancient halberd. High-grade soul treasure. Right now, he could finally display the true might of his ancient heavenly scales halberd. When his ancient halberd entered his hands, a sense of pride gushed into Lin Dong's heart. Over this 1 year, he had traveled by himself from Tiandu province to Great Desolate province. During this journey, he had survived dozens of life and death encounters, and even an existence as powerful as the ancient dragon ape was thwarted by him. Therefore, how could Huazong, who was merely a low-ranked soul symbol master, defeat him? Bronze Thunder Body. Demonic Ape Transformation. At this instance, a deep roar erupted inside Lin Dong's heart. Promptly, what followed was an exceedingly terrifying and formidable power. Squeak! Lin Dong's figure was pencil straight, while the skin on his body had completely turned bronze green. In fact, some parts of his body were now slowly expanding. As his body grew, it gave off a heart-palpitating squeaking noise. In approximately 10 seconds, Lin Dong's height had forcefully grown by half a meter, and he seemed just like a mini-giant. Even though his body did not turn into steel, anyone can clearly sense that lurking beneath his body was a massive and terrifying force. Hua hua! Lin Dong slowly clenched his fists, as every muscle of his body stealthily twitched. A formless force wind, just like a hurricane, wrapped around his body, causing the surrounding air to give of a gushing noise. This was the first time that Lin Dong was able to execute two body-enhancing arts together, and the result that he achieved far exceeded his expectations. As the power within his body howled forth, Lin Dong was unable to resist as he roared towards the heavens. His roar was just like a physical sonic boom as it actually directly uprooted the surrounding trees. Get lost! Lin Dong's eyes were feverish, while the ancient halberd in his hands grew by several times under a golden glow. Right now, it seemed just like Wang Yan's great Luo golden spear. However, since the ancient heavenly scales halberd was in Lin Dong's hands, its aura was evidently much more formidable than Wang Yan's. With a golden glow, he finally swung his halberd viciously with a formidable force wind towards that symbol puppet's body that was dashing towards him. Clang! A crisp sound coupled with sparks erupted in mid-air, before a clearly visible force wind shockwave manically erupted in mid-air. Then, that symbol puppet's solid chest was forcefully dented, while the formidable force from his ancient halberd directly knocked it viciously onto the ground, causing a several meters deep hole on the ground. Boom! After he forcefully blew back that symbol puppet in one blow, Lin Dong's body once again stepped forth. Then, a vicious halberd shadow was immediately directed towards that mental energy flames. Chi! Golden Yuan power immediately exploded forth before it was manically corroded by that mental energy flames, causing a piercing noise to emerge. You shall break! Lin Dong looked just like a deity as he seemed exceedingly formidable. Golden Yuan power with lightning sparks exploded forth before it directly ripped apart that ball of mental energy flames. Then, his figure flashed before he headed straight for Huazong. Ancient Heavenly Scales Halberd Technique, Fish Scale Halberd. Heavenly Scales Halberd Technique, Python Scale Halberd. A hideous-looking giant Yuan power fish and an enraged python emerged simultaneously. They were filled with formidable halberd shadows and an extremely powerful energy as they lightning-quick flew towards Huazong. However, just as Lin Dong's halberd shadows flew towards Huazong, a breaking wind sound emerged from behind him. Turning around, he saw that the symbol puppet that had been blown away was once again charging towards him fearlessly. Its palm blade was filled with a formidable glowing glint, causing one to be fearful of underestimating it. Snort! At this juncture, a glint flashed across Lin Dong's eyes. Promptly, a shadow suddenly emerged from his Qian bag before it viciously clashed against that symbol puppet. Symbol puppet! When Lin Dong summoned that figure, a tinge of shock flashed across Huazong's eyes. However, before that tinge of shock could spread out, Lin Dong's vicious attack had approached him just like a hurricane. Boom! His vicious attack precisely landed on Huazong's body. Then, the latter's body was immediately blown onto the ground, before he ripped a nearly 100 meters long mark on the ground. In fact, the surrounding giant trees were all forcefully uprooted. His powerful attack had completely landed on Huazong's body. However, Lin Dong's eyebrows began to furrow gently. Mental energy giant saw. However, just as Lin Dong's furrowed his eyebrows, Huazong's icy cold voice suddenly echoed out. Then, a mental energy vibration, that caused even Lin Dong to be slightly taken aback, viciously emerged at that location. Swoosh! As Lin Dong solemnly stared at him, at a distance away, Huazong slowly picked himself up. Hovering above his head, was a nearly 10 meters wide grayish mental energy saw. An exceedingly formidable vibration, that seemed capable of even destroying mental energy emerged from it. Your attack is indeed powerful. However, I have this. Huazong's facial expression was slightly hideous before he directly ripped apart his clothes and revealed a dark yellow vest, that he was wearing below. On that vest, there was an extremely powerful energy vibration. Right now, in the middle of that vest, it was slightly damaged. It seems like it was probably caused by Lin Dong's previous attack. However, evidently, even an attack of such an extent was unable to penetrate through that vest. Therefore, this goes to show just how powerful that vest was. As he stared at that glow flowing on the vest, Lin Dong's face turned increasingly dark. That was because he realized that item was the high-grade soul treasure that Huazong had obtained during the auction, mysterious earth armor. With such an item around, even an advanced form creation stage practitioner's attacks would not be able to do much damage to Huazong. That fellow's family was simply too wealthy. Kid, you are finished. As he stared at Lin Dong's hideous expression, the grin on Huazong's face intensified. Now that he had the mysterious earth armor, it was impossible for him to be defeated. Therefore, it was time for him to slowly torment Lin Dong to death.